Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. I am ASPATA Director Ror Alexander, and today's video is going to be a little bit longer than normal just because I have a lot to get through because we have the new year coming up. And whether you're watching this for the new year or it could be the middle of July and you're watching this, but you're thinking, hey, I want to become a fitness pro, but how do I do it? What are the steps? Because a lot of people don't really understand the steps when it comes to being a fitness professional. So what I've done is I have outlined 6 steps for you that we're going to go through really quickly. So I call this the long road to being a fit pro because being a fitness professional isn't easy and it's not a fast job. There is a certain part of it which we'll talk about, which is number 1, which is fast, but to become a real fitness pro, somebody who's looked up to and have a really successful career, there's a long process that you really have to follow. So what is the first step for becoming a fitness professional? Well, the very first step is basic certification. And honestly, a lot of people ask me, and you hear it all the time, emails, there's podcasts about it, videos about it. What is the best certification? At the end of the day, it honestly doesn't matter. The clients don't really care. Most of the gyms don't really care. It doesn't matter whether you're ACE, NAFC, NASM, ACSM. For the most part, it doesn't matter. There are a couple things you have to look for though. You want to look for one that does have at least a certain amount of international recognition. If it's a very simple online course, say called Joe's Personal Training Cert, it's probably not going to go too well. And one of the things you want to look for in a personal training cert is, does it have insurance liability availability? That means if you go to a country with this certification and this country requires you to have an insurance liability, then you can get it. And for instance, our NAFC course does do that. So does ACE, so does NASM, so do most of them. The most important thing, though, besides the liability insurance availability, is the course good for you? Is this a course where you have to go and sit in a classroom for a month, where you have to dedicate a lot of your time to it? Is it a course that can be done mostly at home? Is this a course that I find interesting? Those are the things you have to ask yourself, and then from there, you can decide which certification is yours. Personally, I like our NAFC personal training one because of the practical 2-day workshop it comes with, which is just 2 days on the gym floor, where you go through everything, including all those big exercises. So, what do you do after you get your PT certification? So you can think of the PT certification as like level 0. Okay, this is like kindergarten class. So from there, excuse me. From there, you have to go into nutrition education. I highly suggest that you guys have a background in nutrition. Go and take some online courses. Go and take in-class courses. Just get yourself a nutrition certification. With the NAFC, we actually offer 2. Both are online. We have the NAFC Nutrition Consulting, and we also have the NAFC Sports Nutrition and Supplement Coach. There's lots of other great companies, such as Precision Nutrition makes a great one too. But the fact is, clients are going to ask you about nutrition. Now, there was a long time ago, there's a lot of people, and some of the older school trainers, and some people still say, well, trainers aren't allowed to talk about nutrition. You know what? That's a load of crap. The fact is, your clients are going to come to you with nutrition questions. 90% of their results is from the nutrition. So if you don't understand nutrition and you don't understand how to talk to them about nutrition and making good choices, then nutrition is something that you absolutely have to take. So that leads us into step 3. Movement. So what does movement mean? Well, basically all that means is being able to understand what is a good movement versus what's bad movement, okay? What does proper posture look like? What does proper running look like? What does a proper squat look like, okay? So anything like that. Simple things like being able to scale an exercise. How do you take any exercise out there and scale it for a person based on some of their limitations? talking about movement between different age groups, talking about when you get into older groups. So definitely courses on movement, and there's tons of great things out there like FMS and lots of different physio courses you can take, but movement is one of those things. You want to be able to look at somebody, watch their movement, and then be able to say, okay, I can see an imbalance here or a weakness there, and this is a couple little things that we need to do to fix it. This is not saying you have to be a physiotherapist, but you should be able to look at your client and say, hey, you know what, I think that we need to address this, and if we can't solve it, then I would suggest maybe we go and find somebody who can, that can work with us. From there, it leads us into psychology and coaching, which is so important, okay? I myself went to school for psychology, and when I first came out, a lot of people said to me, well, you're a fitness trainer, and it seems really weird that you would go to university for psychology. And I said, are you crazy? Psychology is probably the most useful thing there is when it comes to fitness and nutrition, helping people make decisions, helping people generate habits, helping people create rituals. Why are they overweight? Why are they not getting where they want to go? Where are the roadblocks, okay? Tons of stuff comes down to psychology and being able to be a good coach. And lots of different people have different needs, and you have to be able to recognize all of those. I like to tell people you have to be, as a trainer, you have to be a personality chameleon. So what does that mean? That means if you have a client, for instance, who is maybe a really high-end doctor or a CEO, somebody really important, you have to come in there with a different attitude than maybe if you have a guy who, you know, just a 20-year-old, 25-year-old client who just wants to rock. So you have to be able to kind of match different personalities, and you have to be able to know all the different ways there is to coaching. And psychology cannot be understated when it comes to helping clients reach their goals. Number 5, and this is a big one going on right now. The fact is, the personal training industry is very saturated, and even though there's not a massive amount of saturation here in Asia yet, the fact is it's globally saturated. We have all these online trainers now, all these guys that are well known in the States, in England, in Europe, and they are doing programming for people over here. They're doing programs for people living in Hong Kong, people living in Singapore, people living everywhere. So the fact is, you guys need to understand business. And I'm going to be coming up with another podcast another video that tells you guys about what you can do to become a successful trainer in the 21st century using 21st century technology. Okay, so these are the steps you have to take, and then those are the additional kind of technological steps that you have to take. And finally, continuing education and personal development. This is where you have to create your niche. This is where you have to grow. Like I said, basic certifications, level 1. You can think of these as all the little parts you have to have. You have to have basic certification, you have to have nutrition, you have to have movement, you have to have psychology and coaching, you need to have business, but then you need to decide which direction that you want to go with that and how you are going to grow and develop as a trainer. And that's where things like CEC courses or workshops or going and training with different professionals in different countries or even in your city or around the world, that's where, you know, going and doing things like taking CrossFit classes and going to yoga classes, that's where you're going to learn lots of stuff. And ASPATA also apparently, you know, obviously has our CEC courses, you know, such as the Fairtex Muay Thai level 1 and 2, our new Yoga Fit, our Metcon courses, as well as lots of other courses that we're working on, and some one-day workshops, plus a number of our online courses that are coming up very soon. So these guys are the 6 steps that you really have to take if you want to be a real successful fitness professional and not just one of these trainers that gets in and out of the industry in a few months. So if you find this interesting, make sure you go to www.aspata.com. If you're new to the whole industry, then definitely take a quick read of our NEFC personal training course. About 90% of it is done on your own at home through downloadable PDFs, and you even do your online testing at home if you want. And then there's a 2-day workshop that you don't have to come to, but I definitely suggest coming to it because you're going to work with ASPATA International Pro Trainers and you're going to learn some great exercises. So until then, guys, make sure you go to www.aspata.com and I'll see you soon.